They're
Hello,
so cute.
guys. Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Say More Podcast, episode 41. And we are currently just under 4 weeks out from the Arnolds. And we were just kind of discussing little bits here and there about it all. I know. Like, one, it feels like it's gone really slow, but it also feels like it's come around really quickly. I don't know how it's both at the same time, but it feels like it
Babe,
has been a bit of
yeah.
both.
Yeah, I'm not like
Hi everyone. Bro, the time is so weird. Like the fact that Christmas was only like a month ago, like it does feel
Mm.
like it's been a year. It does feel like it's been a year since we competed at the Olympia. And at the same time, like how is it already the Arnold? And
Mm.
I reached out to my videographer and we have like that. I'm like, it's that time again. And I'm like, how the heck is it that time again? You know what I'm saying?
Mm. I
It's
know. It's come
so
around so quick.
crazy.
So
Um,
quick.
yeah, it's a lot. Even a lot to process, to be honest, but I'm really looking forward to it. Like now it's just about, babe, I mean, in 20, like less than 20 days, we're going to be in Columbus.
I know.
Wild
It's
stuff.
can't
In
wait.
less than 9 days, I'm going to be 28 years old. How are my parents like having a $28, like $28, my God, 28 years old girl. Yes. I
Pepper's
think I'm fine.
prepping.
Yeah, babe, I think I'm fine, but I think I'm very prepping right now. Like yesterday, Aldo was like talking to me and he was like, but repeat what you just said. I'm like, what do you like? And I just blanked like completely. I'm like, but you just said it. And I'm like, I know. And I know what you're talking about, but like, we need to be on the team together because I can't recall what
Yeah.
I say sometimes, it's just,
Yeah, I'm the exact same.
it just hits you like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
what about you? How's everything?
Well, this is going to be a little catch up session, but yeah, I mean, everything is good. Like, obviously, we both recently went to the NPC gym, which was super fun. And obviously, we can kind of speak about our experiences, I guess, in a bit. But yeah, I mean, this week, won't lie, has been like tough. It's been like going through the trenches, and it's been tough. I won't lie. Most of this week it's been a little bit more hard, like harder. Throughout the week, I felt like it's gone very up and down, like in previous weeks before, where my energy would go kind of up and down, or I'd have like good workouts and sometimes bad. This week has just been like not all bad, but just very like just get it done. Just don't think, just do kind of mentality
Yeah.
throughout the whole
Yes.
week. Um,
Mm-hmm.
which has been which is tough when it has to be that type of mentality because it's the enjoyment kind of is gone a little bit more. Do you know what I mean? Which is tough. When the enjoyment kind of leaves, when you're just like, I don't want to do this. I'm really tired. I have to get it done though. Sometimes those times it's not the best, but now new week. It's obviously Monday today, and I actually feel like proper ready for the rest of the week. Like I feel good. Like I feel good going into this week. So it feels really really good to feel that again. But yeah, I feel good within myself. It's just a case of now it's now that time where it is literally just think, don't just do. Like it's that
Yeah.
moment in time. 4 weeks out is always that hard. Like a lot of changes are going to happen in the next 4 weeks for me anyway. And it's a case of just let it happen. Just like I said, just think, don't do, or
Yeah.
the
And
other way around. Think, don't do.
I think we're in a good timing with like, I mean, we had a talk on Patreon about our cycle. And right now, I think Monday today, after the trip, after everything, like the cycle is on our side right now to hustle and
Hmm.
grind and push ourselves. Like I had an amazing cardio session this morning. Like I told you, I was like, wait, I need to prioritize. And then I was like, wait, I can actually like do this. Because the thing is like, normally I just like push through like the whole cardio. I don't split it because I'm like, what if I don't feel as good as I am
Yeah.
right now to do it later? But after that, I
Hmm.
was like, oh, okay, like I can actually like push through. So no, it's on our side and everything is going to be really good for both of us. So I think we have also the ability now to be like, okay, this part sucks and we just know it's for a little period of time. Like it's not going to be the whole thing. And even if it was to be the whole thing, we'd be like, okay, we have 4 weeks out, 4 weeks of suck. And it's not going to be
Hmm.
4 weeks because then the peak week doesn't really count. So it's like 3 weeks of suck. Like you're
Yeah.
able to compartmentalize. I hate that word so much. It's so difficult. Compartmentalize. Compartmentalize that period and just be like, we'll be fine. But yeah, well, I'm glad that you're feeling good, ready to freaking kill it.
Yeah. How are you
Absolutely kill
feeling?
it. Kind of the same as you, babe. We're really on the same vibe. Like, I don't know
Yeah,
if
I
it's
know.
because we're on the podcast, like we're together, not together. Like we're really in tune, you and I. And it's gonna be an interesting week because I think we're gonna be more chatty. We're gonna be like more like happier. Like the memes are going
Hmm.
to be funnier. Like I think we're gonna be less dramatic than like the last 2 weeks of just like
Yeah.
struggling. But no, I mean, like I said, I feel good. I feel light. Like my step were light today on the cardio, like which does
Oh,
feel
that's
good.
good.
Um, and the little trip that I just had was just perfect. It was very difficult because I ended up like doing my cardio at like midnight, and then I would like wake up in the morning at 7. But I think it's just I'm not in my environment, but in like the best way possible, and it just like pushed
Hmm.
me to like really be like on the schedule and take time. But babe, I was so shocked by how present I was able to be despite
That's
like
good.
the being in prep, because you know how much of a nut job I can be when prep. It's like, no, but I need to do my cardio like now. Like I
Mm.
just had my cashews and that specific meal and I want to do my cardio now. And we had like dinner, and then obviously we had like people that were around, and I was able to just be like, let me be present. Like nothing's gonna happen if you do your cardio like a little bit later. I got it done nonetheless. Like I had amazing like I had access to a treadmill. Like at least I knew that I had a treadmill. I would just have to like suck it up and make it happen like a little bit later.
Hmm.
And I've been able to like really go by the feels, and it feels good when you're able to do that, and create
Yeah.
your own schedule. Dude, we're so
Yeah.
blessed to do what we do. Like it's insane to me
I
because
think we forget this a lot, though. We forget. I think when we're going through this sucky period of like prep and competing, and we forget that like we chose to do it. Do you know what I mean? We chose to do this. We chose to do bodybuilding, and we chose this life. And but we are so blessed to also be able to have the choice to do this. You know.
yeah, babe.
So
Yeah. Yeah, so I
I
think
forget
that's what's
that.
gonna carry us, I mean, it's been carrying us like in our subconscious, obviously, but like you said, we
Hmm.
sometimes forget it. But I think now for the next, babe, it's few days. Like it's wild. The next few
Mm.
days it's going to be with so much like gratitude, and I just can't wait to like see you and hug you and be like, okay, see you at the meet and greet. Like it's gonna be such a freaking good time. And
I
I went
know.
to like to Bev's, and then the girls are obviously coming around like saying how much the podcast is helping them, and it's just like we're really like putting ourselves to use. Like, and I
Hmm.
was I was looking at a lot of like podcasts recently of like how being to use to other people, like to help people, and that's what it is. And by
Hmm.
doing us, even though like it's a very lonely sport and very like quote unquote selfish, or whomever like people want to call it, it's not, because by helping ourselves, like going through these things, like we help other people to look up to us and kind of set the example. And would you agree? Like it's just,
Yeah.
the things that we do, even though like sometimes it goes like robot mode, and like you said, like you weren't like necessarily present, and you're just kind of like just don't
Hmm.
think, just do. And sometimes putting it just a foot in front of the other, that's just like how much energy we have.
Hmm.
Like we only have energy so much to like just do what we need to do, and then the rest is just hard to like be present. But
Yeah.
once it hits you and you get the people that comes to you and tell us that we make a difference by being consistent and sticking to the word that we've set up ourselves to do,
Yeah.
it's just unbelievable. So
And it
so
just
yeah,
feels
I've
nice to get to make it all sound not sound worth it, but for what we do and just like just sharing our experiences in general. Sometimes it's hard to just do that in general because again, being vulnerable and open is pretty difficult. Like we've both experienced that quite a lot, and like we've said on this podcast before, like this podcast itself has helped me be a lot more vulnerable and open just with my own experiences in general. And one, that the fact that people appreciate that, and two, that I can then learn from my own being open myself. It's been a massive like game changer for me the last year or so, for sure, or like almost a year or so. So it's just nice to be able to have this platform, the community, to be able to actually do that for. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so interesting because like as many people that are listening to us, like don't you just feel more into yourself? Like I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it just gave me that like a shield. Like these girls are just like helping me, like you're helping me obviously, like, to give me a shield of be like go inside with yourself and just like appreciate what you have from the inside,
Mm-hmm.
and then you just
Yeah.
become so much more because girl, growth is from within so much, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like I said, I've never like rewatched the podcast, but I know I would rewatch like the podcast, like our first episode. I would be like, oh my god, like this is crazy, you
Yeah.
know, the growth. And I mean, yeah, I just think it's really amazing, the community that we have, and I think our goal is just to show so much of our human side of things and
Mm-hmm.
let the girls reflect on themselves and be a better version of themselves. Like as cheesy as it sounds, like,
No, it's true though.
but letting like inspire to do that for them. So I
Yeah.
hope this podcast, ladies, like ladies and gentlemen, whatever, who is listening to us, like I hope this podcast gives you that shield or that protection to feel yourself more and be in
Mm-hmm.
tune with like your gut more and be more aligned with yourself, because that's what it has given me, you know, like truly and really.
Yeah.
So I'm so thankful for you, my love, and I'm glad that your trip went
Oh, I know
well.
me too.
Now you're settling in Vegas until you're flying to Columbus, correct?
Yeah, we're flying to Columbus, I think, on the 20, I can't remember. It's like the 28th or something like that, maybe? Like right before, I think.
Okay,
Yeah,
kind of
28th. I
late, the
think 28th or
Wednesday.
29th. Yeah, the Wednesday. So I think we're flying in the 28th. So right before, which is nice. And it's not too far. It's like 3 and a bit hours, I think, on a plane. So it's not too far at all, from Vegas. So, but yeah, and then after
Oh yeah,
that,
because
then
it's
it's, and then it's, yeah. And then I don't think it's that far. I don't think it's that far, is it?
I'm surprised. I mean, but I think it's in the middle of the US, and like don't quote me on my geography because I don't think I was really good at that class in school anyway, but I think it's in the middle. So it would make sense
Yeah.
because I think it's for me it's 2 hours and 45 minutes ish, or like 2 hours and a half. So it would make sense
Okay.
that it's maybe 3 hours for you
Yeah, it might
tops.
be 3, 4 hours. I might be wrong. I might be completely wrong, and it could be like 5.5 hours. But I'm
No,
pretty sure it's not as
no, no,
long
no,
as
no,
Pittsburgh flight, because Pittsburgh's
no.
flight was around 5 hours. So I
Yeah,
don't think it's
yeah.
that long. But
And is it
yeah,
shorter when you come back though? The flight, I think it's
yeah,
shorter.
it's usually shorter, like by like 20, 30 minutes. So,
Isn't it fascinating, that thing, when you
which I don't
think
know
about it?
how. I don't know how and why. That makes no sense. I'm like, how? Like it what? Like doesn't make any sense in my brain. But yeah, so that's how it is. But how was your trip and stuff just in general? Like how was the actual, because obviously we just recently both went to Pittsburgh to do our road to Columbus, which was a lot of fun. So how was your actual trip? Like how did you, because I think obviously going to these interviews, they're always a lot of fun. And for me, like this was it my third? I think it was my third interview with JM. And like, I think obviously I went with my teammate Courtney, and it was her first one ever. So it was really nice to be able to, when she was like, oh, you're not the newbie anymore. You're, like the advanced person that's, done it this many a time. And it kind
Hmm.
of clicks, and I don't know, I still feel like the newbie, which I don't know why. I still feel like that little newbie that, is doing all these shows and all the interviews and stuff like that. But it really made me realize that this year I was like, wow, my journey's like come a long way. It always makes me really like notice how far you've come. Do you kind of get those same feelings when you do these types of interviews and stuff like that, when you all do these types of trips?
Oh, girl, like now I feel like I'm part of the decor. Like
Yeah,
I'm just kind of like, you know what I mean? I'm
I'm
just
part of
like
it.
part of, I'm just, I've been here for a while. That's how I
Mm,
feel, you know?
yeah.
But, cause I think as far as the Arnold lineup, I'm the, I'm, I'm the veteran because I, I think Angelica was like Angelica, she's not with the OGs. Like the OGs is
Hmm.
Janet and India Polino,
Yeah,
like Norman, and then you have Angelica like coming on her own little wave from like
yeah.
Brazil and doing like 7 and 8 shows to like win her pro card. Like she was her own wave, and then you have the second wave of newbies, which is like me, Jennifer, Issa, and then third wave is you,
Hmm. Yeah,
Ivy, Marine,
yeah.
right? Like, would you agree to that? So,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
um,
100%.
but babe, I've been competing with for a while, for a
Mm,
while, and that's what I realized. I'm
yeah,
like, I haven't had a birthday since 2018, you know,
yeah,
and it's incredible. But yeah, I'm part of the wall, but it's always very special, and now it gets easier because I know how to travel more, and
yeah.
as long as my flights are not delayed, and if even if they were, I would be able to keep my cool. But we planned it, we strategized it, the fact that we knew we were going to Pittsburgh, like we knew a long time ago. So it allowed us to like really push during those days that I had home, to push to then go and be able to have a little bit more leverage, like if anything was not going 100% on our side of things. But it ended up being a very, very good trip. Oh my God, the weather over there is so dry. Like my lips are
Yeah.
chapped. Like it's gonna take me three
Same.
days. I'm so dry. It's
Yeah,
incredible. But
yeah.
yeah, no, the
My
trip was
skin is
good.
starting to really dry out, not gonna lie. Yeah, gym was good.
Um, the what?
The gym and the trip was good.
Oh yeah, it was great. It was amazing. And then to see Kim, like again, I don't know how this man is able to travel from LA. So it's the same trip as you. He flew into the night, picked me up in the morning, went there and flew on the same day. Like basically the same thing as you did, but he
Yeah,
did the same like, and he came and we were able to see each other. I'm gonna see him in 2 weeks again. So I think that's the most frequent times that I've been able to see him in person.
that's good.
And like he said, he's not keeping his eyes off of me, and we're not stopping the work. So
That's good. That's what
it's
you
not
want
one of those
ultimately.
where, even though we're super happy with the feedbacks, and I'm sure you are super happy with the feedback, it's not okay, let's take off the foot off the gas. Like it's like, no, we're
Mm-mm.
we're taking it more, but at the same time it's funny because they all kind of like said goodbye, and they all said the same thing: don't get into your head, and then don't do anything
Yeah,
crazy. Like that's exactly how like they finished, the trip, and they said goodbye. So it was funny because they get to know me on a more personal level, I guess, with the time,
yeah,
without saying anything. They just
yeah,
know because they're just like, how can we see you here like this, and then you show up, and we're just like, and I'm
yeah,
like, I'm still just a baby. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I'm just a baby. But
Literally,
no, it's good.
literally. But I
Yeah.
think that's
What
good. I
about you,
mean,
babes?
elaborating, I mean, yeah, like I'm the exact same where it's nice to get to know, like you said, the judges on a bit of a personal level, and going to those interviews, I actually feel like it feels those types of interviews, because it's so personal, obviously, them having a look at you and all that type of thing, it makes it more calming for when I'm on stage, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes any
Mm.
sense. I feel more calm after I've seen them, or I feel like it calms me down for then stage, if that makes any sense.
Does it?
Yeah.
Good.
You're like, I don't understand that. But it
No,
makes
because
it makes me more
it gives.
calm. It makes me more calm. It gives me closure. I think it gives me closure to know,
Okay.
okay, we're on the right path. We're doing what we need to kind of do to move forwards and stuff like that. I think that's what it helps me with. at least a little bit in my head. And also because I know that I've been in front of them like that close, like literally 5 feet away from them versus being on like a huge stage, like really far away from them or whatever, it feels a bit more, it feels less daunting, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like that
Babe,
makes no sense to you?
it no, but it gives me, for me, it gives me a thing to compare it to, and the looks just kills me. Like I just know for a fact, like if I come up from stage and the first time that I want to say the third step before the box, they already know. They already know where I
Yeah.
am. Like, and I can like
Yeah.
scan their face. I scan their face right before, like, hitting my front pose, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm off.
They
Like I
know.
just
Yeah.
know. I just know instantly. I don't even have to turn to the back. You know what I'm saying? And
Okay.
and it gives me like a comparison thing. And especially if Sandy is not looking at me with a smile, which like she does for everybody, but if like her head comes down a little bit, I'm like, shoot, we missed the
Damn.
mark. We missed the mark. But
Damn.
as yeah. So yeah.
Elaborating, I mean, that's kind of good, but I mean, elaborating on that in terms of just feedback in general and just how you feel on stage, I think that's kind of a cool topic to kind of, I mean, dwindle into. But I mean, feedback wise, a lot of people always ask, like, how do we take the judges' feedback, or what do we do with the judges' feedback? So like obviously we've got some great feedback obviously from this past week for going into the Arnolds. Obviously we can discuss that if we wanted to, but or keep it to ourselves. But in terms of what we do with that, like when they tell us what to do, what do you literally, and it sounds really silly, but like what do you do with that information? Do you take it completely literally, or do you kind of add in, coaches' feedback and judges' feedback, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get what you mean. So in the past, what would happen is that I would go to Pittsburgh, get incredible feedback, and I would come home and I would be like, no, but they don't really mean it. And then I would self-sabotage the shit out of myself, go ham on cardio, go and just push really, really harder. And like something I've never like, and not take it for literal, but like in the
Mm-hmm.
worst way possible, and just
Okay.
pushing more. And it was just like, yeah, they don't really mean, like, do they really mean this or they don't? And then I would just push. And then every time that I did that, it ended up being super negative for me. So
Okay.
I'm really, the feedbacks were great. They were not perfect. Like it was not one of those like, don't do anything, don't touch anything. There's
Yeah.
still work to do. But for Kim to be there, I'm like, thank you, and give him my
Yeah.
brain. And I'm just here to execute. And there's not going to be like the Lauralie 5 minutes, five more minutes for the haters type of thing. Like I'm
Yeah.
not doing that to myself anymore.
No.
And it's hard because I felt really good today. And I was like, and no, I stop myself. I stop it where I need to stop. And,
Yeah.
and yeah, so I'm telling myself, what about you? Like what, what does happen, or do you feel like getting your feedback and processing it have changed over the years?
Yes, I think it definitely has,
Yeah.
because I think for me, so say for like example, like young pro Phoebe in like 2018, 19, she would obviously when she'd get the feedback and stuff, she would take it as like a negative way and be like was kind of similar to you in terms of, or like not like they wouldn't believe it, or say that you need to do this. Obviously it's feedback, but for some reason I would be like, oh, I'm not good enough, so I need to, like, technically you're not, if they're giving you feedback on how you can be better, right? But the way that I would take it was in a negative format. Oh, I'm not lean enough, I'm not this enough, or I'm not enough muscle, oh, I'm not as good as I could be, which is true, but it would be in a negative format. Instead of it being in a negative way, try and putting it in a positive way. Okay, cool, I've got, I need to put on some muscle mass, I need to get leaner. And do you know, the way that I speak to myself, or the way that I take that information
Yeah.
in, is changed a lot.
Yes, it's more rational and it's more
Yeah.
mature. You're like,
Oh,
okay,
100%.
these are great feedback. You and I spoke about our feedback off air,
Mm-hmm.
but these are great feedback, but also here's how much time we have. These are our
Yeah.
capabilities, abilities, and just more mature, I think, overall,
Yeah.
right? More rational, more mature.
Exactly. Yeah,
That's
because
good.
sometimes it can be very highly strung where you're like, oh my God, I need to change, loads of different things and I need to do this. And then you actually get the feedback and they say, no, like you kind of sometimes can create feedback in your own brain that actually isn't relevant
Yeah.
to the judges at all, which I used to
Yes.
do a lot, like for example, one of them was tattoos, like the tattoo, because I have tattoos, which so funny. Some people don't even know that I have tattoos or don't realize it. But I have tattoos
True.
right underneath my bra, all the way around. So in the middle of my sternum and either side of my ribs, and they're not massively noticeable, but like you can see them. And I was really worried about. I remember there was one specific time I was really worried. I was like, oh my God, they hate tattoos. They're not gonna like the tattoos on me, and trying to cover them up, trying to. I tried to cover them up. I tried to do whatever. And then I actually asked Tyler, like, do you want me to cover up my tattoos? Do you can? He was like, I didn't even realize you had tattoos. I was like, cool, that's sweet. So like, again, it's like you think things that they think that they want
Yes.
from you, but until you actually
Yes.
ask these questions or go through these things, it's sometimes the irrelevant things. Like, don't get me wrong, when it comes to tattoos, which I've had a questions on like so many times before, they don't care unless it's something that's covering up the criteria. So if it's like a tattoo that's covering up the entire of your shoulders or the entire of your like glutes or legs or something like that, that's gonna take away from your physique, then potentially that's something that they could be like, well, it's blocking your physique, so we can't see it technically. But if it's a tiny little tattoo, like, and they can barely see it, it's
But
not taking
yeah.
away from your physique, then it's nothing to be worried about really at all. And even if it was
And
tattoos, they've said before that they don't care about.
and again, don't take our word, like neither
Oh no.
Phoebe's or I, word for word. Ask the judges, period.
Yeah.
Like you did, like you worried for like 5 years of like this tattoo thing, like in your own head. Like you could have let that out and give yourself some peace of mind instead of carrying that with you, So then just ask. Honestly, babe, that's what I realized. They want us to ask,
Yeah.
And I went to that seminar with Steve Weinberger. It was such an incredible seminar because people were like really asking questions like, what about implants? And then obviously Steve like looked back at me. I'm like,
Look
let
at
me
you,
answer
like
this question. I'm so
do you
ready
know
for
what's
it.
funny? It's always me and you. People always are like, it's the implant cut. We're like, yes, we get it. We don't have implants, okay? We get it. So, but it's funny, but it's
And
good
I
though,
was
and we
able to
like
like,
to know that.
I mean, and I was so honest, and it was great because like Steve, what I answered to that question about the implants. So basically, the girl was like, "Is it necessary to compete and having implants?" And I was like, "Listen, I'm not gonna lie to you here. Like having implants like does obviously help with your lines in your body. It does. It makes your waist look smaller." And Steve was
Hmm.
like agreeing with what I'm saying. So I was like, "But would that like makes you not place top 5 for 7 consecutive year at the Olympia?"
Hmm.
No, I'm the proof of it. You know what I'm saying? So I was like,
Yeah.
and then they all started laughing. And Steve was like, I'm like, if you want to have implants, do it for you, but don't do it to compete. And then Steve
Yeah.
took the mic and he was like, if you want implant, don't do anything for competition. You do this for you. And again, it's
Yeah.
all the judges are circling back around is you being you, what feels good on you,
Hmm.
what question on the hair extension again. I'm like, do what feels right for you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and you during your journey, or like if you, am I too old for this? Don't ask me. Ask the judge. Are you too old for this? Like, yes or no. They're going to tell you an answer, which I'm sure they're going to say no. But if you have concern about being competitive or not and you need guidance, ask the right people, which are the judges.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So it was great to hear those things, especially from the source itself. It's just
Yeah.
crazy because it's how is people getting information about the sport, not from the judges. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like why would you think it would take away? I mean, obviously, I because you heard it and it's been out
Hmm.
there, but you should have asked a long time ago if your tattoos was bothering, and obviously it
Yeah.
didn't.
Oh, I did.
You
The
know?
thing is, I did. I remember. So it was actually it was Toronto Pro 2019.
Oh, I
Before
remember.
that, so
Yeah.
it was right before that. I covered because me and Adam would kind of go back and forth, like, should we cover them up? And I was like, do you know what? Let's try. Let's see. And do you know what? Protan did a very, very good job of covering them up. So, like, shout out to Protan. They did
Shout out
great.
to
Like, it was,
Proton.
you could still see it a little bit, but it was less obvious. Um,
Yeah.
and then I think I did a show the next weekend, which was also judged by Tyler. So they were both judged by Tyler, I think. And then I said, "Oh, did you notice that I like didn't cover and I didn't cover up my tattoos this show?" And I said, "Oh, did you notice?" And he was like, "I didn't even notice you had tattoos from the first place." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So and that kind of only went on for like that was only a few months. As in like I waited a few months, so I didn't ask in Toronto, but we made the decision myself, like, okay, let's cover them up myself, and then ask like the following show, like, do I need to cover them up, basically? And he was like, no. So,
Yeah.
like you said, it's asking the question and asking specifically, like with a coach or your judge, because obviously I know people don't always get the opportunity to get the feedback they want from judges, because obviously if everyone was to ask the exact like all of that feedback for like that they require from the judges, obviously the judges would not have enough time, but they get it from their coach. And I think that's what people sometimes will look for as external feedback from other people other than the judges and coaches. They'll look for other people to
Yeah.
ask, like, yeah, athletes or someone who's experienced something like along those lines. So they ask us, which is good because we have a lot of experience, but our experiences don't always mean that they'll have the same experience. um but I think that's where the information comes from, if I'm honest. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's just
No, fair.
bad bits of information. Sometimes it's good, but I think ultimately, yeah. I mean, what's your like we said before, like taking the judges' feedback too literally, literally. It's that word, that word. Um, it's it's a good thing, but also like, how do you then take that feedback with your coach? Like, what do you do? So, what do you do with that feedback when you've taken it from the judges? Then, what do you do when you go away with your coach and kind of talk about it together? Like, what do you kind of, I guess, what's the process of kind of breaking down that feedback, if that makes sense?
I think we take it and then we go to bed and we start like a brand new day. And it just
Mm-hmm.
like it confirmed, thankfully we did the work in order to have a lot of confirmations that we were on the right
Mm-hmm.
track. And I think as a professional, you do have the homework to do that, to put you in a good
Yeah.
position where you get more confirmations like, okay, you're on the right track, whatever that means, instead of, if they say you need to be leaner, like, yeah, like there's a lot of the things that also I think as professional, like they know we're well guided with our
Yeah.
coaches, so they don't go too far with their feedbacks because they're like,
Mm-hmm.
they know. But if you were like really far off,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it's so personal and it's so like
Yeah. It's
on a
it's
daily,
good in the
for
sense
me, it's always
because
like, don't be like, don't like the green straw. Like they just don't want me to repeat the Arnold 2019 look. Like that would be
okay.
the worst thing I could ever do. Like
Yeah.
if there's anything I could do like that's really like drastically like really really bad, that would be in a really bad position, Arnold 2019 look. And they always
Yeah.
joke around like burnt asparagus, like JM always makes fun of me like the burnt asparagus look, or like the green straw from
Yeah.
Starbucks, because Debbie would like look at me like, don't that's how you look, that's how you look. Then like she put a green straw in front of me. So I always keep the green straw in mind, but not even anymore because I'm so well guided, and like
Past that,
shout
yeah.
out to my coach, and I'm just like, of course he's not gonna like, I'm like, even they were giving me a feedback, and they was like, don't do anything crazy. And I'm like, that's why I have him. And there's like Kimbo like there, like like looking at the video and just like taking it all in. But no,
Literally.
we were there, and it was like, good. Like we just did this. Kim and I was like, I'm going to my whatever Delta American lounge thing. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm going to New York, and I'll check in Monday. He's like, enjoy your trip. Okay, bye. And it's
Okay,
just
bye.
that
Yeah,
also that
done.
it's just that trust of like, he knows I'm gonna do what I gotta do,
Yeah,
And
exactly.
if anything, he's like, now he wants me to check in tomorrow. So he's like, he just keeps my mind in
More
check. He's
frequent.
just like,
Yeah.
how's your mind? I'm like, I feel good. He's like, okay, but like you do this and you do that, and you don't like
Yeah.
remember the glute workout this, because he's like, okay, when she feels that good, that's what she normally like, she would like train harder, and like this, we keep the same workout. So he's like reminding me
Yeah.
my little like, this is where you stay. We stayed in
Yeah.
that little
We
bubble,
stay in
and
this
that's what you're
bubble.
doing.
Yeah.
And that's what
That's
you're
good
doing, because
though.
yeah, no, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's just different.
Yeah, I think that's good that you have that kind of like, um, you have that kind of like, again, you have that person that you can have that connection with. It's the same with me and Adam. You have that connection where you're like, okay, like they know my body, they know how I work. And if I feel good, that I'm going to push a little bit harder, but we don't need to. So let's just keep it on the right track. I think that's good. Like, and like I said, when you have those moments with your coach and you're like, okay, we've got the feedback now. What are we going to do with that information? Do you know what I mean? You make a plan around it, you take it day by day, and then you kind of go from there.
Yes.
I think that's really good
Yes.
that you
Mm-hmm.
have that, because it's easy for yourself to be like, okay, the judges say I need to be leaner, so that means I need to, I need to do like I need to do more cardio, I need to do this, push harder. And sometimes it's hard because when they use phrases, and it's not the judge's fault at all, but it's the way that we take it in. Again, the way that we take that feedback in. When they say leaner,
Yes.
that doesn't mean fucking change everything and lose 10 pounds. Do you know what I mean? It could be
Preach.
£1, it could be £5. Like, I would say, like, that's the information you do with your coach. Do you know what I mean? When they say leaner, that
Yes.
doesn't mean, like I said, loads. It could be literally the tiniest little amount that they want you to
Yes.
change. But it's
Yes.
how you take it in and what obviously you need to do
Yes.
with that information. Because that's happened to me before, where I've
Babe.
literally been like, we need to be leaner. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, cool, get lean. And they're like, yeah, you're way too lean. And
You're
I'm
like,
like, but you
you're like,
said I needed to be leaner. They were like, tiny bit though, like not that much.
you're like, I need to be leaner. Noted. And then,
Yeah.
babe, that just comes from a very unhealed place. And that's why like therapy is such a great
Yeah.
investment for you, to just like take it for what it is. People say what they say.
Yeah.
It's so funny because even my God, I get in not fights with my mom. Obviously, it's not like fights, but like little
No.
arguments when I go to the restaurant, and I'm like, no, but that's what you want, like that's like,
Mm.
you told me you wanted bacon. Like it's that, because my mom would just like order one plate at the restaurant. I'm like, but I'm gonna like extra side of bacon. She's like, no, I'm fine. I'm like, no, you're not fine. Like, when you say you're fine, like, but she was like, no, but I'm telling you that I'm fine. Like, don't order for me. But I was like, I'm such
Yeah.
in it's like, I know what people mean, but it's like, you actually don't. So like, shut up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like leave it to what people are telling you, and then
Yeah.
that's it, And
Yeah. Don't elaborate.
that
Don't elaborate too much on that information like that they're giving you. Like, I'm fine.
yeah,
Yeah, okay,
why are
cool,
we
I'm
doing
fine.
that?
It's maybe
Why are
it's
we doing that?
overcompensation. It could be overcompensate overcompensating
Yeah.
for things that we think that we want to try. Again, it could be, when we were speaking before about the what's it called? The oh god, like we love, like we're accomplishment junkies, we want to try and accomplish
Yes,
everything and
yes,
do so much. Maybe it's a case of that, missing those accomplishments. Like, we push so hard and push so much because we want to make sure that we've ticked every single box, but
yeah.
sometimes instead of ticking the box, we could literally, we're just fucking scribbling out the box and coloring it in five different colors for no fucking reason. Do you know what I mean? Instead of just simply ticking the box, we're literally going like this with 5 different pens. Like, yeah, we've
Yes.
demolished the box. Do you know what I mean? You don't
Yeah.
need to do that. And I think that's what it's like with feedback sometimes, where it is
Yeah.
like,
It's like,
you don't need to do too much to the point where it's literally like, okay, now you've done
Yeah.
too much and it's not what we asked, you know?
Yeah.
So, but
Babe,
that's definitely
yes.
happened to me
Yes. And
on
especially,
many a times.
you know, yeah, and I know like we're laughing about it now, you know, and I'm not, you know, we're able to laugh about it. Um, but it's honestly not that funny. Like when you don't put your limit to the, like, let's say the sky, like in bodybuilding, sky is the limit sometimes, because
Hmm.
if you start pushing past that, that's when health and the after is it's just not
Yeah.
fun, bro. Like don't put yourself in that position where like it takes you 8 months to recover, and then not only you didn't place, so like your mental is shit because you pushed too
Mm.
hard, and then now you're too lean, and then it's, I mean, we're laughing about it, but
It
like
takes long to recover from.
it is, and it's not really healthy. Like we've been able to recover from it because we were kind of young, but I mean, I lost a lot of muscle and I spent a whole year without like eating enough protein and like underfed myself and then binge eating and then all these things. Like, I mean, they're part of my journey, but I could have like literally not do that. You know, I could
Yeah.
really not do that. So just tick the fucking box. It's enough. You're enough. Like ticking the
Tick the
box
fucking box.
is,
You don't need to scribble it out.
yeah, it's enough. The sky is the limit, okay, in bodybuilding. And then 100% is an actual 100%. Don't come at me with like 105. Like
Yeah.
it really, like the extra five is actually doing you damage, okay?
Yeah.
It
It could,
is.
the thing is, it can sometimes can be, it sometimes can be like doing extra cardio, doing extra thing, like doing extra things on top of the things that you already needed to be doing can actually, like you said, can be damaging versus it being actually any
Yeah.
good or any use to the to
Yeah,
your competitive career. Do you know what I mean?
because then you do more cardio because you feel good and you think you need to do more, and then your knees are shot, and then you can't and then your feedback is to get more muscle, but now that you did more cardio for absolutely nothing, then you need more muscle, but you can't train properly because now your knees are fucked, like
Yeah.
it, you know.
It's a
Oh my god.
circle. It's a fucking circle
Yeah.
of life, bodybuilding life.
and
Literally.
and and
So,
therapy, so go to
yeah.
therapy and do bodybuilding. I love talking
Yeah.
to you. It's so fun.
Yeah.
I love this episode. This is great.
I know this is a good
So,
episode. I like this. But I
so
mean, yeah, that's kind of the main points I would say about just feedback in general, because I know that's always something that
yeah,
comes up, like how do you take the judges' feedback? Like, I mean, even if
that's
you
a
go back
good.
to our Olympia podcast and we spoke about obviously the feedback pretty much like straight away and like those types of things, like how
Yeah,
to process feedback and how to actually take it on. And sometimes, like I said, like previous younger Phoebe took it on as like a negative way and was like, oh my god, I'm not lean enough, I don't have enough muscle, like I'm a piece of shit. I'm not. They're just giving you bits of information to work on that you need to do to be better at your sport. That's literally it. That's all you take it as, you know?
yeah. And
um
fact of the matter, you're not a piece of shit if like
yeah.
you've never been a piece of shit, but like also fact, you're an athlete. You're great at what you do, and you're amazing, and you're enough. So
Yeah.
I love that we touch base on that because I think it's so important. And it's
Hmm.
funny because I had this interview with Flex Wheeler, Linda Murray, and
Oh, I
Wendy
need to watch that. I
on
need to watch
on
that
Olympia
still.
TV. It really really good episode because it's just generation and like icons, you know, and they're just
Yeah.
seeing the sport for what it is. And even Flex was like, and Linda, they were like, how do you manage the feedbacks over and over again when literally for us bodybuilders, just the leaner the better, the more conditioned the better, the harder the better,
Mm.
the more everything is the best. But now you're telling me that like your body needs to flow with the down, and then sometimes your legs need to come up, and it's like, yeah, like I mean, I have not obviously hit the nail yet, you
Hmm.
know, because I haven't won the Olympia. So as
No.
long as I didn't win the Olympia, I'm gonna try to hit it right on the nail. And
Mm.
it's either you take it as fun because I can't be angry about it. I can just be like,
No.
well, this is fun. I have things to work on and be better at. or you be a little crybaby and you're not happy about it. You know what I'm saying? And I think sometimes I've never took a feedback hard. Like
That's
if
good.
you're confused, if you're confused, but I mean, who would I be to be like taking, like, who would I think I am if I'm not Miss Olympia to be upset at my feedback? Like, have you ever been upset with a feedback? It's like, you haven't been.
I think so again, this is another thing where it's like an in the moment thing where it's been a case of because there's been times where you do, again, which is a huge thing, which I think a lot of people always forget as well, is like you could do everything the judges say and it still not be enough just purely because of the way that you look against other girls, which you have to remember in bodybuilding, or men or whoever, because they could tell you to come in leaner, you come in leaner, but there could be a different lineup this time, and there are
Yeah.
better girls than you. Also, there's other things that could then kind of change things, and you can't get mad at anyone particularly. That's just the way the sport goes. Unfortunately, there's no like
It's the
skill
sport.
set.
Yeah.
There's no skill set saying you need to do this to get 100 points and this is in your 100% weight. Like, it's not like, like, I don't know, like the Olympics where you throw something and you have to throw it the furthest and then you'll win it. That's it. Like, it's all dependent on opinion, and you have to accept that before
Yeah.
you go into the sport, because obviously it can be very up and down. And I've been upset in the moment where I've been like, I've gotten leaner though and I still didn't get awarded. But then when you then look back with a fresh mind and you're like, okay, let's actually analyze, let's have a look, and I'm like, okay, there is things I could work on and I understand this and this. I think in the moment there has been times where I've been like, fuck, but I did get leaner, like, and I did say I did do what you told me to do. And then again, because it's a lot of emotions, especially on show day, when you don't get something you want, it can be hard. It can be hard. But when you then look back with a fresh mind, it is good to then be like, okay, you have your coach and stuff around you. You have a better mindset because you're like, right, what can I do to just be better now? And you take it more constructive versus it just emotional.
Yeah. It's reality of the sport. So I think, if you're just starting to compete, like, you have to assess the reality of the sport. It's a 1-day show where a lot of things can go your way, a lot of things can go wrong. C'est la vie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
C'est la vie. And you just take it as it is, which is a 1-day thing. Like, same thing with like golf. I don't know why it comes up to my mind, but let's say golf. You do everything you can do. Like, you practice, but that day there is a wind that blows right on your ball when you freaking hit the shit. Like, it's like, could you have done more? Like, the only thing you can control is, have you done your 100% and given your best every day? Yes. I win before I step on stage, I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you really need to do that with all, like, wholeheartedly, because otherwise you're at the mercy of, obviously, the judges' feedback. That's what the sport is. What the sport is. And you can't hide. You can't go hiding. You go and you pick up these minds and do whatever you want with it. That's what you can control after that. But that's what your sport is. You know what I'm saying? That's what your sport is. It's like Tiger Wood. Like, if he was upset at the win, then don't do golf then. Period.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And so much more goes into it than just being lean and having muscle, or just following, the judges' orders. There's other things that contribute to it as well. And
Yeah,
you have to understand
because otherwise they would have us wait on stage, like having like us like a scale on stage, and it would have like DEXA scans, like to have the leaner, like that would be our sport, but it's not. It's not. So assess the reality of the sport, be real with yourself, be healed with like a lot of therapy, and then have fun, bro. Like, let that shit go. When the
enjoy
stage
the
comes,
process.
when the day, oh my God, when the day comes, just enjoy it for what it is. And I know we're going to enjoy it so much. I can't wait to be backstage with you.
I cannot wait to be backstage. I
cannot wait.
Because I couldn't find you for the Olympia, and I was so upset about that. So I'm actually so excited for an actual full.
But prejudging backstage to finals backstage is completely different.
I know.
It is different.
I know. I'm
Yeah,
excited for
and
it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I
the Arnold
think
backstage.
I know, it was so much fun. Like last time I did it, I remember it was so much fun. And there's this one photo of you that is my absolute favorite photo with you and that massive plate of pizza. Have you seen, do you remember I sent it to you? I'm gonna need to send it to
Yeah.
you at some point again. It was the best thing. Like they really look after you a lot back there. And like, yeah,
Oh, it's
I
amazing.
you have to make sure you enjoy what you do. Like, don't let it just bring you down and like be like, oh, like feel really sucky and like, oh, I have to do this. I posted the other day like a little reel. Like the mindset of I have to and I get to is so different. Like you get to do what you do every single day because you chose to
Yeah,
do it. You
babe.
should be very grateful for that, the
Yeah,
opportunity
babe.
that you have. Um,
Yes.
so yeah,
Yes.
I'm excited. I'm very, very excited, and I'm excited for the next 4 weeks to get to work
I'm
and
getting the
show that.
butterflies.
I know I'm getting them as well. I'm like, oh, this
Yeah.
episode is making me feel all like excited and shit. I can't wait for it.
It,
It's gonna be
it's
a lot. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
it's crazy that we still get the butterflies for something that we've done for so long. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so cool. And I think as
Yeah,
long as
that's when you know the passion's still there.
yeah, babe, the day that I don't have that, I'm out. That's what I
Yeah,
said in the interview. I'm like, it's not, it is, if someone asks, how do you enjoy the journey? I'm like, how not to? You know what I'm
how can
saying?
you not? Yeah,
And if it's not the case, babe, I please don't, please don't compete. Don't do
yeah.
that to yourself if you really don't. Um, because even the most sucky part, like we end up enjoying, sometimes we enjoy like 3 days later though, like we're not enjoying like but do you enjoy your 8 to 5 every day?
No,
No,
yeah,
you know? But babe, I love this episode. Thank you so much for
yeah.
giving me all the butterflies.
I know.
Um, yeah,
Very
and I'm so
excited for it.
excited for everything for us. And we're gonna talk soon. Um,
Yes.
guys, we have amazing episodes on Patreon, and we're gonna give you more over there. There's a
Yeah.
little hic that happened on the last episode. Phoebe tried her best to fix it, but
Yeah.
you know, stuff happened and it's completely my fault. And
No.
we're gonna give you some more. We're really excited for that. So if you haven't signed up to our Patreon yet, the link is gonna be down below. I don't know what you can do with Spotify or whatever, but yeah, babe, I wish you a great and wonderful day. I have to go pee,
Yes.
and
Yeah, same.
I
I'm not
love
gonna
you.
lie. Love you guys. Yeah, I have to pee, so bye. Love you guys so much, and we will see you in the next episode.